You know, there is so much hype around this Persona 5 Reimagined mod. I'm told that it turns Persona 5 into a complete nightmare in terms of difficulty. But they don't call me the Grandmaster of Persona for nothing.
No counter. I'm depressed. Bro, he's weak to ice? Oh my god.
No! Are you kidding? Can I go back to Nocturne now?
What the fuck?
It's showtime!
This past week has been jam-packed with some pretty fucking awesome video gamer news. And from the look of things, this upcoming week might be pretty goddamn great as well. Starting things off, my boy Dole gave me a heads up on a Persona mod that was set to release on the 11th of August by SCArkadia, an incredibly talented modder in the Persona scene who has released what is quite possibly the biggest mod overhaul I've ever seen for an Atlas game, Persona 5 Reimagined. While not the first major Persona mod he's done, this one has definitely got more heads turning, deservingly so. With such an extensive change list, it's hard to really call this a straight difficulty mod. New requests from the twins, Pierce, Boss Rush, new skills, help Takemi can sell you weed, bro. It's Persona 420 all over again. I've never spoken too much about this, but Persona 5 is hella easy, especially Royal. I could beat this shit while sleeping. Hard, merciless, I've never found any of it to be truly difficult. To be fair, base P5 Merciless was actually pretty hard, but that was by keeping the XP and money rate gained at 0.4 while making weakness and critical hits deal 3 times damage. It's a good start, but after the first 2 palaces, it honestly isn't too bad as long as you start making use of different items and spells that you otherwise wouldn't use on a normal playthrough. I'm just saying, if you avoided using Haru because you got her last, you were missing out, especially on Merciless. Her barrier spells are a lifesaver combined with Spotlight, an item I would have never used on normal or even hard. I want to be pushed into a corner, beaten like the calorically challenged fat fuck I am.
You can't even get up from the fetal position like a normal person. You have to roll out of there, you fat fuck.
And forced into using new strategies and mechanics. SMT and Persona's press turn and one more system are perfect for this, because of how much of an advantage both sides can get when abused correctly. Arcadia's take on rebalancing the majority of the original game using the skeleton of Merciless as a base is such a dope take on making the game feel both fresh and new for those seeking true masochism such as myself. My favorite change he's added is the addition of all random battles taking place with 5 enemies. It's really terrifying, especially when you're low on SP, but encourages you to master the baton pass system, one of my favorite mechanics added to Persona, which honestly isn't really used all that much aside from a few fights in Royal. I'll be streaming this mod slowly over time, and if you want to play it yourself, please go and check out SCArkadia's socials as well as his Patreon.
He spent 6 months developing this, and I really appreciate the time he put in to give us SMT fans something new to experience. Good shit, homie.
On August 18th, the Pokemon Company will be holding a direct on the Diamond and Pearl remakes as well as Pokemon Legends Arceus, not Arceus. It's been about 6 months since the reveal, and I'm feeling good about the remakes. They'll be solid, I'm sure, with hopefully an orchestral soundtrack, but Legends is where I'm cautiously optimistic. The concept is straight up everything we could have possibly wanted, but seeing Chingling and Chimchar lagging like a goddamn PowerPoint just ain't it. I don't know if the January release is enough time for Game Freak to brush up the game and really deliver with it, but I genuinely hope they do. I love Pokemon, and I feel like as the years pass by, every other monster collecting game is just doing it better. The biggest reason I got heavy into SMT was just because I wanted more out of Pokemon. Either way, I'll be streaming the Direct on August 18th at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time and might film a hold up on it if there's enough to discuss. Hey, future Pinoy here. I can confirm Pokemon is looking damn good. I'll be posting a hold up soon where I talk about it a bit more in depth. Coincidentally, on the same day as the Pokemon Direct, Tales of Arise is getting a demo on all platforms except PC. Probably because of data mining, but that's still pretty BS in my opinion. I mentioned this last week, but Bandai has shown a ton of this game and it's looking great. Now we get a chance to try it out for ourselves.
If you're even a tiny bit curious, I encourage you to give it a go. It's free, so why not?
Monolith Soft, the #1 company I want to make a mainline Pokemon game, is not making a mainline Pokemon game.
Sorry, I know, it'd be fucking amazing.
Actually, around June of 2021, a YouTube channel by the name of Din's Meteorite posted an interview with Jenna Coleman, who plays Melia in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, and its definitive version. During this interview, Jenna states, "God, when was the first game? 10 years ago? It was a long time ago. I did it pre-Doctor Who days, and when they did the second, they asked me to come back, and I think they're going to do another. Common knowledge? Don't know. Yeah, I think they're going to do another. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that."
She said what?
This caused quite a stir online, and obviously led to deeper investigations being formed by multiple news sites. Fanbyte's Imran Khan broke news about the third Xenoblade Chronicles game, which was apparently set to be revealed earlier this year and might still be revealed before 2021 ends. But Monolith has had a difficult time with developing during the pandemic and optimizing the game for the Switch, with Imran stating, "The game is aiming for more character models on screen at once than any previous title, accounting for both playable characters and enemies."
Dude, I feel like all the upcoming JRPGs are gonna fry my Switch, on God.
I've only played Xenoblade 2, but I do intend to play the remake of the first game soon, and I hope. If you weren't aware, there was also additional content in the form of Future Connected, which does make it seem like it's supposed to tease a third game in the series. I wouldn't know though, haven't played it. On top of that, Imran states that Xenoblade 3 takes place in the far-flung future with a few returning characters who have long outlived their human counterparts from both Xenoblade 1 and 2. Now again, since I haven't played 1, I can only infer, but in 2, blades are technically immortal, so this makes a lot of sense.
You guys mind if I take a few months off to finish this game? It's like 80 hours long. Spoiler alert! Robbie, do not watch this segment. I will edit it for you.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 had a new trailer covering Bethel, the organization that I believe is battling the demons of Dot from entering Tokyo. Bro, every trailer just gets better and better. The hype for this game is massive. I feel like SMT5 is going to be the premier Nintendo Switch JRPG at this rate. No in-depth analysis from me, but it's looking like the factions of this game will be more complicated than just law and chaos. There's also a shot of this guy who looks like Raito Kuzunoa, like that's his outfit, right? I'm not going crazy? Apparently, he shares the same Japanese voice actor as well. Actually, I wanted to touch on that. Does anyone know if SMT5 is confirmed to have an English dub? I usually play both, but prefer English on my first playthrough.
I'm also just a huge fan of a ton of English voice actors, so Atlas, if you've got an English dub trailer sitting around, I'd love to see it.
I'll keep this brief since I talked about this last week, but literally the day of posting one more, the trailer for part 2 of Fantasian came out and was released on August 13th. There were 2 trailers actually, one that showcased story cutscenes and another showing off some extended features. Maybe now that the full game is finished, we can see it come to other platforms in a year. I don't know if there's a timed exclusivity or anything. I just really want to play this on something else since I don't own an Apple device and there's no way I'm buying one just to play one game. In the meantime, I'll be listening to the soundtrack because Uematsu is a composing genius who's very handsome and intelligent. So Nintendo held an indie direct recently, and I completely regret not streaming it. I usually do, but the last few haven't been anything to write home about. So I ended up throwing it on while I was making some breakfast, and what do you fucking know? Team Reptile's Bomb Rush Cyberfunk gets 2 new trailers right at the start. God damn, baby. Let's fucking go. You guys know, this is one of my most anticipated games of next year. Jet Set Radio Future defined my childhood, as much or more than some of my favorite franchises I grew up with. I should also thank you guys, because my video on Bomb Rush Cyberfunk started blowing up again recently, and it's awesome to see so many people coming together for a franchise that deserves so much more love than what Sega has given to it. That wasn't all though. Almost every game they showed here looked really interesting. I figured I'd shout out a few of the ones that stood out to me the most and talk about them briefly. Eastward, an action-adventure RPG developed by Pixpill and published by Chucklefish, is a game that's been teased for a couple years now and is finally set to come out on September 16th. The pixel art for this is fucking nuts, and the way characters move stand out really well. I don't think I've ever played as a hobo before, but the art direction is enough for me to give it a shot. Hong Moran, sorry if I butchered your name, the game's lead artist, says he was heavily inspired by Akira, Cowboy Bebop, and Mother to name a few, but I think he's done a fantastic job making this feel distinct and unique. Metal Slug Tactics, which was revealed at Summer Game Fest, is classic Metal Slug with a tactics twist, and once again, the pixel art is just killing it. I'm a big fan of tactics games and loved Metal Slug growing up, so I was happy to see this come to the Switch. Tetris Effect Connected is a game I've been waiting for about 10 years to play, but never had the chance. And with it coming to Switch and having crossplay, I might actually be able to get a few games in with my good friend Ninja, who's a Tetris god. If you're watching this, bro, you're not ready for my T-Spin capabilities.
What the hell's a T-Spin?
Finally, Garden Story is just the cutest shit I've ever seen. A Zelda-esque game where you play as a grape fresh off the vine turned guardian of the island. Probably the weirdest premise ever, but with visuals like this and a delightful soundtrack, I feel like this will be a surefire hit, and it's already out. There were many more games they showed that stood out to me, but I wanted to mention the ones that really caught my eye.
If you watched the direct, what game stood out to you the most?
Maximilian Dude, one of the biggest fighting game creators and a personal favorite of mine, started an online campaign recently to bring back Marvel vs. Capcom 2, easily one of the best fighting games ever made. If you weren't aware, you can't buy this game on any digital storefront, and to make matters worse, the release of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was rough. I mean, look at how bad this shit is. From what I understand, the game played well, but with a shit roster like this and visuals that look worse than the backside of my ass after a gaming session, that just doesn't matter. Typically, these online campaigns never do anything, but Digital Eclipse, the team behind the 360 and PS3 ports of those games, which, by the way, are the only legal way of playing them online, spoke out in support of this, even nudging Capcom and Disney/Marvel Games to step in and make this happen. By no means am I any decent at fighting games, but they're my favorite multiplayer genre by far. Nothing else gives me the rush and excitement multiplayer-wise like they do, and growing up, Marvel 2 is what I played day after day versus my brother, along with Battle Mode and Sonic Adventure 2. I'd give anything to be able to play this game again with my friends, and while I understand this comes down to two major companies needing to be willing, we've seen them approve arcade cabinets for Marvel vs. Capcom 1 by Arcade 1UP. And that's way more niche than this. One last thing, bro. Clock Tower is and always will be the greatest song to come out of a fighting game.
Now, say my name.
Get that naked PA out of here now!
Speaking of bangers, The World Ends With You and its sequel, as well as FF14's ShadowBringers expansion soundtracks, are now available on Spotify. Ishimoto and Soken's compositions are way too good to be ignored, so whether you've played them or not, you might as well throw them on and give them a listen. They both have the Pinoy seal of approval. I don't normally talk about anime in these news videos, but I think this one is too important to skip out on. GKIDS' collection of the 90s anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, along with its films Evangelion Death True Squared and the end of Evangelion will be available on Blu-ray and digital download for the first time in North America later this year. Oddly enough, I grew up telling myself I don't like mecha anime, but for whatever reason, every single one I remember watching I enjoyed to some extent. So I feel like watching Eva is long overdue for me. Amazon also just got the rights to all of the Rebuild films,
Whatever that means.
and you can stream them right now if you have Amazon Prime. My editor, Apple 2K, also just put out a brilliant general review of the latest film, Thrice Upon a Time, that I highly recommend you check out. Not because it's a good review, but because it's his destiny to become an Anituber at this point. For this last bit of news, GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas seem to be getting some kind of remaster or remake in the Unreal Engine and is set to release later this year. Nothing has been officially announced yet, but according to Kotaku sources, Rockstar is actively developing remastered versions of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. All three of these games are being remastered using Unreal Engine and will be a mix of new and old graphics. The visuals reminded them of a heavily modded version of a classic GTA title. The UI for the games are being updated too, but will retain the same classic style. No details were shared about gameplay, but Kotaku has been told these remastered titles are trying to stay true to the PS2 era GTA games as much as possible. While I'd prefer to see them remade, as I actually think GTA 3 is kind of a stinker, Vice City and especially San Andreas are amazing titles for the time they came out in. I mean, San Andreas still has features that GTA 5 still doesn't have, and that game is almost as old as me.
I'm 25.
Either way, it's been some time since I've had the chance to play them, so I'm excited for this regardless. Although, when it comes to Rockstar nowadays, they don't break out of the mold as much as they used to. I really want a sequel or remake of Bully, one of the funniest and interesting titles they've ever put out, but it feels like as more time passes, the more forgotten it is.
And that's just a damn shame.
As far as myself, I'm still chipping away at Neo The World Ends With You, and the music just keeps getting better and better. In fact, I just witnessed a crazy ass twist that literally made me jump out of my seat. I've also been playing a bit of Clubhouse games and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 with a close friend of mine, and that's been a blast. Anime wise, I finished Penguin Highway, Yurikuma Arashi, and Season 2 of Beastars. Banger, by the way. Video-wise, I'm in the editing process of this month's unique video, which should be out at the end of this month. That's it for your video gamer news, everyone. Are you going to check out the Persona 5 Reimagined mod? Is Xenoblade 3 something you're looking forward to? I've got to say, as fun as that mod is, that shit is hella difficult. If any of you give it a go, send me some clips of you playing on my Twitter. I want to see if anyone else is struggling as bad as me and Dole. Last week's poll, I asked if you guys skip the trailers for games that you're excited for, or if you watch them anyway. And holy shit, 72% of you said hell no, it fuels your hype. A few of you had some pretty interesting perspectives on this. As a content creator, I feel like I always need to react to every major news announcement that comes out. But sometimes, if I like a series so much, I'll purposely avoid it. The last time I did this was when I skipped watching every FF7R trailer after the E3 reveal. If you're interested, I've got an exclusive podcast available on Patreon at the $5 tier where I talk about upcoming videos, what I've been playing, what I've been watching, as well as discussing a bunch of random topics with you guys. You'll also see previews for new videos before they release, get a behind the scenes look at how they were made, and play with me every Saturday. This past week, we played zombies in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and well...
Behind you, Andy, behind you, Andy, behind you, Andy.
Fuck you, Daddy.
Okay, that's just disrespectful.
No, bro, I threw a grenade by accident, and then I just see Chris.
And then you called me fat because you made a mistake?
He's abusing me too.
You could just move. Why are you so big?
Yeah, I can move.
Let's move.
Imagine going to your friend in
Yeah,
real life,
please,
you
my
throw a
goodness.
grenade at him. You're fat, you're fat.
With that being said, thank you all for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, leave a dislike if you didn't. Be sure to check out my second channel for highlights and playthroughs, follow my live streams at Twitch, and check out Apple 2K on YouTube and Twitter for editing this video. God bless you all, and I will see you next time.
You can't even get up from the fetal position like a normal person. You have to roll over there, you